All right, Kyle, I'd like to ask you another question. A lot of our clients are doing two-sided marketplaces as their venture, and they also run into this chicken and egg dilemma. Can you explain a little bit about what a two-sided marketplace is and some of the dilemmas like the chicken and egg that people tend to run into?
hmm Yeah, absolutely. So, two-sided marketplace is usually some sort of platform, right? Like a Visa, an eBay, an Airbnb, an Uber, an Etsy, a TikTok, a Bumble, a Tinder. Many of them. And that two-sided market is when we'll use Uber as an example. There's someone on one side that says, I need a ride. And there's someone on the other side that says, well, I can give someone a ride. And Uber serves as almost like the facilitator of that transaction, right? So you've got two or more customer segments, like the people who need the ride are different than the people giving it. And then you've got each with their own unique value proposition. So you say, oh, I need a ride. So I'm trying to get to point A to point B quickly and safely and affordably. And then the people who are looking to give the ride, of course, have a different value proposition. I'm looking to make money in my free time. And of course, safely. And I would like this to be a profitable endeavor for me. And then I think the other piece to the puzzle here on a two-sided marketplace is that the value that one group gets is only possible if the other one's present.
Mhm.
So that's how you start to look at, do I even have a two-sided marketplace? And the chicken and the egg dilemma, some people call it the cold start problem. I think that's Andrew Chen, and he's a famous VC guy with Andreessen, I think.
Mhm.
Calls it the cold start problem. There's some other labels for it as well. I kind of like chicken and the egg because it's just a fun illustration, and it's common. Is that a fable? A common fable or a story of which one came first, right?
Yes.
The chicken or the egg. And that is the dilemma that a lot of these platforms face when they first get started, which is, okay, we recognize that we have two or more customer segments. We recognize that they each have their own unique value proposition. We recognize that we need both of them at the same time to create value for one another. So if one of those groups shows up and the other one's not present, what happens? Right? Well, if I have the chicken but not the egg and I'm at the start, how do I get the other one?
Yes.
So how do you solve that? And it's interesting because you just need to start looking at, there's the supply side and the demand side, the buyer side, the seller side. How do we figure out which one do we need? Which one do we focus on first? And then how do we set up to then immediately pivot and be like, okay, now that we think we have enough of those, let's go to the other side and get the other side of the equation. So it's not us. I don't know. I don't know. I think the best way to describe it is, oh, shoot, I'm stalling out, man.
No, you're good,
I feel like I was describing it really well. And now I was just
you
like, I don't
did.
know. That's it. That's it.
And
Shoot.
and I think that's right on, man. And I think a lot of it, like the way I like to describe this is, if you were building an Airbnb competitor, and someone were to come and visit the website, they could have the best marketing in the world. Like, they throw ads on Facebook, they throw ads for, like, rent our properties. They click the link.
hmm
Well, there's no properties, like, if they show up, right? If it's an app that was just created, just launched, if you're not really concentrating on this chicken and egg problem, that's how it
Yeah.
comes to fruition. And what happens is there's no properties, then they leave and they never come back.
hmm
And so I
Yep.
think what you're stating is, yeah, there's a problem. You have to really concentrate on, like, is there enough supply to at the value of the people actually have the demand of, like, hey, I want a place to stay. So you just need to make sure that's a check. So
Yeah, that's right. Because if you need one to be present, you need both to be present to create
yeah.
value for the other. And that's the trick. And I think another metaphor that I'm still tinkering with or trying to explore is, it's almost like you have to build up inventory.
Mm.
Um, Imagine going to a grocery store and there's no groceries on the shelf. You would never go back.
Yes.
And to your point, imagine going to an Airbnb and there's no places to rent. You would never go back. It's that same thing. Imagine getting on Uber. We've all been there. We go to a small town and we say, "Oh, I wonder if they have Uber." And then you're like, "Oh, they don't. They don't." And it's been
Yes.
years, and I've never checked again, right? Because you're just like, it's still too small. The city's still the same way. So I
Yes.
think there's an analogy there, an illustration there of that challenge of building up your inventory so that when the other side comes along, there's something for them to do, and you can create, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point, the magic moment, right?
Yes.
Pirate metrics, right? How do we activate those people? We need to make sure that both sides are present at the same time to create that activation.
Yes.